let's get into running backs. Let's talk a little bit about Texas high school football running backs. Yesterday we talked about quarterbacks, and we kind of came across. We laid out that a lot of the real headline guys had graduated. A lot of the real big name guys.
Right.
And I don't want to say that none of the headline guys graduated.
Right.
Look, Keontae Ingram's gone.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of really good running backs
Yeah.
are on to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
But it is less severe of an exodus than it was in the quarterback position because there are some really good running backs coming back. And as we talked about yesterday, look, Deondrick Glass is not making this list.
You know who he is.
Do you know
already.
why? Because you know who he is and you know he's really good.
Right.
Jace McClellan from Aledo is not making this list.
You already know him.
Right. So
Damarquais Foster.
Yes,
You already
Damarquais
know
Foster.
him.
You know who he is. Damarquais Foster.
Yes, okay.
Actually, yes. Damarquais Foster.
You've gotten that clarified.
I've gotten that
Damarquais
clarified.
okay.
I've gotten that clarified firsthand.
Yeah.
By the only guy who can tell me
Yeah.
what his
Yeah.
actual name is.
Damarquais.
Anyway, point is, these are 5 Texas high school football running backs that I think you should write down because for one reason or another, I think they've been a little bit overshadowed and they could be in for a big 2018. Start in 6A and start with San Antonio J running back Jalen Hastings. This is a 2,000-yard rusher and one of the quietest 2,000-yard rushers in the state. I think part of it is that his team was, fine. They were 7-4. It's a good year. They made the playoffs, and they don't need to hang their head about it. But this is a guy who they played 11 games. He went over 100 yards in 10 of them. 2,006 yards, 15 touchdowns. He averaged more than 8.5 yards a carry, which is nuts. Mm-hmm. And down there in the San Antonio area where they're used, and that's another thing, is that he's in a part of the state where there's so many good running backs that I think it's easy to get lost in the shuffle.
Right.
But Jalen Hastings put up big-time numbers as a junior and could be in for a very big senior year. Jalen Hastings from San Antonio J, a running back to keep an eye on. Let's go to the DFW Metroplex, and let's go to Grapevine, where Roshan Prier is a name that you may not have heard of. Yeah. And I understand why, right? Grapevine had a huge offense last year, but everyone was talking about Alan Bowman, the quarterback. Well, Alan Bowman's gone. Roshan Prier is not, and Roshan Prier is awesome. Almost 1,400 yards last year, 15 touchdowns, 8 yards a carry. He's also a threat out of the backfield. He caught 26 passes. If you're looking for a guy who is going to take over a high-powered offense and say, all right, they're going to need a new bell cow to step up now that Alan Bowman's gone. I mean, you can do a lot worse than Roshan Prier.
Good candidate.
The running back at Grapevine. Kind of staying in the general North Texas area. Mineral Wells running back Khalil Thompson.
Cousin Khalil.
Your cousin Khalil.
Yeah.
So this is a team in Mineral Wells that, again, kind of suffered from San Antonio Jay's fate, which is 6-5. Made the playoffs, but fine. And it's kind of the worst of both worlds for him because they also had a great running back in Seth Slack, or quarterback rather, in Seth Slack, who's now off to the next level. Well, he's gone, but Khalil Thompson's back, and this is a 1,600-yard rusher. 18 touchdowns on the year last year, averaged nearly 7 yards a carry. At Mineral Wells, keep an eye on and the other thing about him is that he's going to be in that same district as the aforementioned Damarquais Foster, right? So I think it's real easy to be like, oh, well, that's the district where the guy who ran for 580 yards was, right? There's other great running backs here, and I think a perfect example is Khalil Thompson from Mineral Wells.
So you're saying we need to be at Mineral Wells in Hershey this year?
Yes, that game might be over in like 15 minutes. So all they're going to do is run the ball. All right. Let's go south.
All right.
Let's go to Edna. Kenny Haynes. And a guy that I think because he is in a crowded backfield and the kind of offense that Jerry Long likes to run at Edna, it is not conducive to superstars. Because Jerry Long, of course, very famously kind of runs a slot T.
Right.
So they hand the ball off a lot to a lot of different people. So I think from the outset, you kind of, in your mind, not that you mean to, but you kind of disqualify any running back from Edna from being a superstar, right? Because you're like, oh, well, okay, they're just going to spread the ball out too much.
Yeah.
And it's true, they spread the ball out a ton.
Yeah.
They got 3-star running backs coming back, but Kenny Haynes was a 2,100-yard rusher last year.
Significant.
For the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Really good. 32 touchdowns on the year. So, yes, he's in an offense that spreads the ball out. But he is also undisputedly the bell cow and the guy they want to go to. And when you're averaging 7 yards a carry in a slot T offense, you're doing something right. Kenny Haynes, the running back from Edna, is a name to keep an eye on. Finally, down the 2A level, let's go east to Big Sandy Harmony. Big Sandy Harmony, Gilmer Harmony. I just call it Harmony. Okay.
Fair enough.
Another guy who plays in a wing offense, Barrett Hill from Harmony. Nearly 2,000 yards. You're 6 yards away from 2,000 yards. 21 touchdowns in the year. But again, because he plays in kind of an old school offense, I think people say, oh, well, they don't really have superstars. Barrett Hill's a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
And a guy who I think could blow up for an even bigger year in 2018 as a senior coming back. Barrett Hill is a name to keep an eye on out there in Harmony in East Texas. Kind of in an area that Harmony kind of gets overshadowed. Gilmer's nearby. Big Sandy, of course, is so much tradition.
Right.
Harmony is a program to watch, and Barrett Hill's a big reason to watch.
They always feel like they're on the cusp of breaking through, too. They had a great year last year.
Yeah, they sure did. So, this is a team that went 11-1 last year and looked like it was a big threat to go really deep. So, keep an eye on those 5 running backs. You know a lot of the big names. Here are some guys that maybe didn't get their due last year that could be guys we're talking about deep into 2018.